Hello, today is the 5th of February 2022, and I want to today take the opportunity to discuss the project I've been working on for many hours now, and it's the Dome Home project. As you may have heard on my chat audio podcast, this is a project that I've been designing for some time. It is a dome residential structure, a home. It's about 4 rooms, and it is currently being designed as a 2 level or 2 deck structure. I do have some photos that I wanted to share, as well as the design. When I say photos, I mean renderings of the drawing that I want to share, showing the different views and perspective shots of the design. The design is not entirely complete, however, I would like to begin sharing it. This video may have more than one part to it because the design is so involved. I believe it probably is going to require more than one video or session to introduce and to fully explain. I want to go ahead and explain its entirety of its design concept, as well as the entirety of each and every aspect of the design methodology, the steps taken, also the methods for or planned methods for construction, and other ideas and concepts I may want to share about this design. So, without further ado, I will jump into the actual building. It is a 3D construction done virtually, meaning it is on digital form at the moment. It has not been modeled physically at all, or let alone built or began to build. It's just at this point, it is a concept and a working digital or virtual 3D design. And as you can see, and this is the actual model, the latest. There are many, uh, and there are several versions of the model. This is, however, the latest and what I believe to be the most uh, updated as far as construction methods and utility is concerned. And the reason I say this is the latest and best as far as utility is because it has been uh, more or less downsized or downgraded a little bit as far as square footage is. But as far as again utility and also structural soundness, I believe this model right here is uh, the best yet. And as you can see, the drawing name, it is named as Dome Home 64. And the reason I is named 64 as of now is not because it is 64 bits or anything. It is because this is simply the 64th iteration of this drawing. Of course, if you do design on the computer and using any kind of CAD software, as I used here, this is entirely built in AutoCAD. Different versions. Latest version I used was 2022, but it has been built in AutoCAD uh, using several versions, including starting with 2010. But again, this is the 64th iteration, meaning that there are 64 versions or 64 steps that have been taken, uh, or better yet said, 64 different um, major changes or major upgrades have happened since 2017. This is a ongoing project again that has been going on for years. It is uh, close to being a 4-year project. This is 2021 now, and I do believe I began this project early in the year 2017. Of course, it has not been continuously running. Of course, I had left it alone for perhaps 2 years or so, perhaps more, and I just a few months ago picked it back up to advance it and perhaps complete it here soon. So again, this is a 3D model, a what they would call a BIM model. And what I mean by BIM model and BIM is it a building information modeling concept or uh, type of drawing. It is not necessarily just a 3D model, but it's a 3D model that has pieces of information, meaning that it has a little bit of intelligence to it. Uh, of course, AutoCAD is nothing like other CAD software such as uh, Revit that has a lot more information to it, such as structural information perhaps, or as far as structure loading, or electrical information as far as amperage and power and voltage and all this other stuff. But it does have information such as uh, material structure or material colors, material looks, the way the materials are, and I'll show you that here perhaps in this or later videos. But it does have a little bit of information more than a plain 2D drawing would have. A whole lot more, I would think. Mostly visual information, and you'll see what I mean here in a moment. Also, the fact that it is a 3D model also, to me, gives it that BIM building information model uh, status, because 3D uh, drawings basically have uh, mass, uh, although albeit virtual. They have size, they have a place in space that they occupy, and you can very much um, plan and draw and calculate using uh, that information that each object in the building occupies a space and also virtually occupies uh, mass, or it has virtual a virtual presence to it. So that, I think, qualifies it to be a BIM. Of course, it may be a bit more than that as the design goes on. AutoCAD does have many BIM faculties and aspects to it, and I may be adding those here as the design develops. This is again a working model in an ongoing project, and I expect it to remain so, um, uh, perhaps for a lot longer time, perhaps many more weeks, perhaps months, maybe years into the future. So without further ado, I want to just show you um, what this is again a 3D model. It is right now shown in 3D wireframe. It has that perspective look to it, meaning that that's how it would look more or less if you were looking at it from the air, perhaps as high as a treetop or so. And AutoCAD has the power. This is not AutoCAD, by the way. This is a viewer, DWG, or AutoCAD drawing viewer. It is a simpler um, software used to mainly view and analyze models that are done in AutoCAD. And I will show you a few shots of how the rendered model is. I can do that now. Just to begin with, we'll begin with the renderings. So this is the first shot of the rendering. Of course, these are not full-fledged renderings, meaning that they're not professional renderings with full textures and colors. This is basically a screenshot of the more or less realistic view, again in perspective mode. Perspective mode, of course, the angles are not as they are as if you were to view them. They mimic your the way your eye looks at things. So this is how this is, and that is the north side. The north side is actually the back, the rear of the structure. The structure is designed to have two large doors and a ramp and two ramps, one in the front, one in the rear. This is the rear ramp and door entrance or exit, if you will. Uh, Again, this is a dome structure. A dome structure is among the more durable and efficient, cost effective, and resistant structures that you can uh, live under, design, build, etc. And that's why I chose the structure. This is an ovoid or egg shape uh, structure or dome. It is a lot taller actually than your spherical dome. Spherical domes are half a sphere. This is more like half of a ovoid or ellipse, and it is about 30 foot wide by about 28 foot high, and I will show those dimensions shortly. This is another shot, again a perspective shot of what it would look like from the ground. This is the perspective of a person of about 5 foot high. So about 5 or 4, more like 4'7" from the ground at eye level for a 5 foot person. This is another perspective of that same structure again, uh, an ovoid dome with several windows, large windows. Um, this is again the north entrance, the north side. I don't want to call it entrance or exit because they both sides could be used as an entrance or exit. But this is not the front of the house of the home. This is more like the rear again. It is sitting on a array of concrete blocks, of course, mortar together, and as I will show you, they're also still belted together. This is the south. This is the actual entrance. The south view, again with the ramp. Both sides have a ramp, and as you can see, it has top windows on the second deck. I call it the second deck as different from second floor, because I am designing this structure to be self-sustained, such as a ship would be. So I'm calling the different parts to it with the names given to parts of a ship as different from a home. That's a different view right there, the southeastern view. As you can see, I put the cardinal points or labels, easily seen, easily to be spotted from every direction for the most part. And I have the, of course, the shots set in a more or less tropical environment. Oops, a little too fast there. That's the west view. And this is beginning to see the interior of the structure. This is the living area. This is the front. A little bit of a close-up there. You can't really tell too much detail, but this is also another view of the front area as you come in the door. Kitchen area rendering there with full shadows. Dining area. And you'll get a better idea of these places. That's another rendering of the dining area. You'll get a better idea of these places as we move along, and you start to get familiar with the inside layouts, the floor plans, and the way the furniture is arranged in the design. Of course, the way the furniture is arranged is not etched in stone, but it is, however, part of the integral design, so it would be quite difficult to or inconvenient to put furniture anywhere else other than what it is, because it has been carefully analyzed for the most efficient and comfortable use of the very limited space. It is not a very large structure, as you can see, but these shots here are perspective shots. You can begin to see better, how the layout is of the furniture. This, as you can see, if you can tell, this is a refrigerator. This is the range or stove. These are tabletops, very nice looking, wood paneling or actual wood rendering. This is the rear door. This right here is a wash top or a sink area for washing dishes, and also for storing. And this is part of the wall, the structure, the wall structure, the outer wall structure, the inside of the actual dome shell. It's another shot of the living area. The living area again using very small furniture and very limited furniture to take advantage and to make use of the very limited amount of space. There's a lot of space, however, the space is very efficiently used. And with that, I mean that it is divided to be used for many purposes. So the spaces are small, however, they provide, I believe, a feeling of being in a large place, mainly because of the large headroom that you will get an idea of what that would look like or feel like. And that is an advantage of this ovoid shaped uh, dome, that it gives you that headroom, the very large and tall headroom that makes the space feel a lot larger than it actually is. And again, domes are known to be among the most efficient use of space structures. And that means that you will have the most room for the least amount of materials. Another shot of the living area again, uh, with a bit more of a perspective than the shot I showed before. This shot right here gives you an idea of what it would feel like to be in the downstairs or the lower deck living area, looking up top to the roof or the top of the dome. This, of course, right here in this side of this are the stairs, spiral staircase, as you can see, and there is the second deck. The walls here are shown more or less see-through, but very nicely show the actual structure of the dome itself. So these are, you could think of them as being plexiglass. They could be some sort of other material. They don't have to be see-through, in the final uh, design or final product, of course. This is a perspective shot of the center, more or less the center of the lower deck. There is, of course, a 5.5 inch by 5.5 inch column that goes all the way from the bottom to the top of the dome. If you can see that in that same column right here in this shot, I call it a pillar, the center pillar. And these larger columns also I call them pillars. There are about 11 of them throughout the structure, making the dome itself. By the way, the dome can stand on its own and perhaps be a very durable and strong um, structure. But however, to add to that strength and durability, I added very significant and substantial pillars throughout the structure. Again, that's another shot of the center there with the center pillar showing. That is one of the closets in one of the rooms. That is a close-up shot of one of the rooms to the left of the entrance, front entrance. That is a more widely spaced or a more perspective shot of that room, that same room. You can see the door, chairs, desks. Again, not a very large space, however, it is very, I think, wisely used space. There's a bed right here, and making ample use of the space, for storage. There's a storage cabinet up there, and right there was the closet that we just took a look at. I believe there's another shot of the same room looking at the other direction, where the bed here on the right side and the entrance to that room here, the chair. That's a wider shot of the same location. Again, making smart use of the space with cabinets up top attached to the actual frame of the wall frame. And this is probably the best shot that shows you how we would feel the large space that you would be inhabiting as you stand on the living area of this magnificent structure. And Again, that's the center column or pillar right there. These are lights distributed throughout. Uh, of course, that design could change. This is a very rudimentary design right there for lights. Perhaps you could have pendant lights hanging from all the way up top. But that is how it is designed as of right now. This is a rest room or a bathroom, more accurately said, a bathroom on the first deck. Accessible to everyone, not just any one room. And I will show you that in a little while. This is a uh, shot down at the kitchen from the second deck. There's a bridge that goes from one side of the second deck to the other side of the second deck, and this shot is as viewed from that bridge, the kitchen area. This is the rear entrance or rear door. Of course, the dining area and the sink showing there, large window showing right here, and ample use of shelves, basically wrapping around the kitchen. Shelves right here as well. This is a shot from the same bridge upstairs of the opposite side. This is the living area. Of course, you can see the two small couches there, light fixtures, large window there. And this is another closet area. Perhaps the same we just seen for that room. This is in the second deck already. You can see the small windows. Again, ample use of storage cabinets or shelves up on the wall. Use of desks throughout, chairs. This looks like some sort of computer stand. A desk right here. This is the bridge that basically goes from one side of the second deck to the other. So this is that one room and that small closet that we just seen right here. I believe this little closet is the closet for this one room here. This is a very small room, perhaps an office. This is not a bedroom. This is more like an office area or room, perhaps not a home office or something. But as you can see, it's not big, but it is, however, a space that is very much usable. This is a top shots or a shot from the top of the staircase, looking down at the front entrance. As you can see, the door is a very large 7-foot, I believe 7'6" door, about 6 foot wide, and it's a substantial door, both front and rear of the structure. And that was the last shot for that. So to move on and begin describing the actual model. Again, this is a model done in AutoCAD 22. However, it could be downgraded to perhaps several versions down of AutoCAD, including 2018. I believe this is in a core 2018 AutoCAD version. 2022 still core, based on the core version of AutoCAD 2018. But you can, of course, downgrade it down to 2014, 2010, even perhaps 2008. Would not recommend downgrading much more than that because of the functions that may have changed since then. You may lose a lot of those, and there may be problems also with corruption or errors in the drawing. As you can see, there are several XREFs or external references or external drawings that are not showing up here, like trees, and some of the furniture are external links or attachments or drawings that I will not show here just for the sake of simplicity. So let's change how this looks. Okay, so I have changed the way this looks here on the software, again being AutoCAD 2022. Of course, this is not AutoCAD. It was designed in AutoCAD, but I'm using a software called Design. Oh no, it's called DWG TrueView. That's Autodesk DWG TrueView is basically a DWG viewer. A lot simpler than AutoCAD. You cannot really do any design changes. You can basically just view and perhaps measure and do very simple viewing tasks, perhaps markup tasks. But this is the structure. As you can see, if I can choose, I really can't choose much. Can't type in any commands either, but just starting from the top, this top structure right here is going to be a oops, too much. This top structure right here is going to be a, well, you know what, we'll go ahead and start not from the top, but as we should, we'll start from the bottom. We'll start from the foundation, as we should. And for that, we're going to make some changes.